So welcome back to Devil's Advocate with your host, me, Matthew Cohen, where we talk about opinionated topics in the real estate industry with some of my favorite and most influential people within our business. So to that, I wanted to welcome my friend, my dear, dear friend, Jill Preschel.
I'm so happy to be here.
So for anyone who doesn't know, which is super silly, you should know, but Jill is one of the top brokers in our industry. She is in this for almost 20 years, 18 years to be exact. She's a mother of two beautiful boys, obviously married to a wonderful man. And she's just honestly one of my favorite people. So welcome.
Feeling is mutual. I adore you.
Aw. Hey, you know what? It's rare. Like, so many brokers don't have what we have.
I know. And it's funny. Recently, I was doing a deal with someone at Brown Harris who didn't know me. And she was sort of like,
That's so rude. Everyone should know you.
And there were multiple bids, and she was very nervous that I was going to pull something funny. And I was like, you could go to Matthew Cohen. I know that you don't know me, but he will tell you I am a straight shooter. I'm not pulling anything funny. So did she go to you and ask?
Did you win the bidding war?
Well, we were on the listing side. She was nervous I was going to do something funny. Because the bids kept coming in higher.
No, you're actually one of the most straight shooters in the business because, I mean, you're just like an honest, direct person.
I am.
But I feel like you also got your straightforwardness from doing a lot of development. So let's like bring it all back because we always say like Jill and I could talk for hours. So you've been in the business for 18 years.
Yes.
You got your start at Corcoran Sunshine.
Yes.
Tell me, well, first of all, actually, you know what? What have you seen that has been the biggest industry change since you came into the business?
Sure. 2007 at Corcoran Sunshine, it was all about knowledge and experience and pedigree and understanding market fundamentals. I'm not always seeing that nowadays. I'm seeing less of that. So that's the biggest shift. I think are you finding that too?
Well, so 100%. But do you think that's because of social media and all these people who are like pretty or show a pretty property that's not theirs on TikTok, and then, they wind up like doing like a $5 million deal for their first deal of their career?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, 100%. I think that the ability to captivate people is now becoming something that is way more important than like actual experience and knowledge, which is like a really interesting and strange thing.
But it's funny, at least to me, it's funny because you now work with like the big social media man himself, Ryan Serhant, right?
I do.
So,
I do.
You're almost like kind of in the crux of that, right?
I am. I'm in the heart of it. And, I have to sort of zoom out because I know Ryan from when I was at Greystone and I was on the development side, and we hired Ryan to sell for us. And what impressed me about him and his team was that they were just up for anything. One day I was like, hey, Ryan, this development is struggling. Can we rent a classic car, wrap it in branding, and would you be game to hand out branded water bottles while I film you with a megaphone? And he was like, of course, that's a great idea. Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we do that?
And I have to say, I have a lot of opinions about Ryan. He's also a friend, but we've had our differences over the years, which I actually think is very normal in our industry. Like when you're a top broker who, we all like 10% of the brokers do 90% of the business, right? So there has to be transactions that make us not see eye to eye.
Yeah.
But I will give him credit that he will do anything. And sometimes that is super helpful. And sometimes it doesn't work out. I mean, it's funny. Like I recently did a video for a listing of mine and, I made a joke of like referring to the size of the living room. And I went like this, and some people were like, oh, it was like a little risque. And I was like, but it got a lot of attention.
Right.
And a lot of people reached out to me about the listing.
Also, is that risque? I mean,
I guess for me, I wouldn't say that I'm buttoned up, but
that's your humor. I mean, that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, it's like we sent out an invite to, we're having a brokers party tonight, and we sent out an invite to the industry.
I saw.
Yeah, and did you see the subject line was free food and wine?
I loved it. I laughed so hard, and I opened it.
So many brokers emailed me back being like, that's hilarious.
Hilarious.
So I don't know if they'll come, but at least it still caught attention.
Yes. Differentiating yourself, captivating attention is now so critical. And how do you do it to be authentic to yourself? And you're doing it.
Right. And so like, I do think, I love that you're now working with Ryan, because I do think there is that kind of element that he brings that not everyone is like willing to do.
Yeah. And there's like a yin and yang between us, right? Like when he'll pull me into a development pitch, he'll sort of talk pricing with me and I'll listen. And then we have a dialogue and I'm like, well, what about this building and that building? And he's like, okay, right. Good point. And so having that back and forth is awesome.
But also it's funny because I think of you as not a conservative person, like in the best way possible. Like to me, you say what you say, like you don't apologize for it. You're very direct. And I'm obsessed with you for that. Right. And, you know, I'm sure not everyone feels that way, but like they can screw themselves.
I'm very much a take it or leave it kind of person. I'm not for everyone 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I almost feel like Ryan makes you look conservative.
That's so good. I love that.
You like met your match. So on the scope of, you know, how you originally got to know Ryan.
Yes.
So you started in new development.
Yes.
You just said you worked at Corcoran Sunshine to start.
Yes.
But then I met you when you were at Alchemy.
I know. When did we meet? At Alchemy. Okay.
Yeah.
So 25 years old, Ken Horton, Joel, you know, they were connected to me and they were sort of like, we have this building for 54 West 54th Street. We have 90 units in Hell's Kitchen. We were, I think, was at the precipice of sort of the recession. I don't know which recession.
Right.
And they were like, we're going to try to break a record. I was like, okay, why not? Let's try it. So I led sales there. It was a really good learning experience. And Ken and Joel and Jerry were amazing in that they pushed me to speak up. Like if I raised my hand or if I whispered, Ken would stop the meeting and say, speak louder. We want to hear what you have to say, which is amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because I actually think, kind of not to go back on what you said about like beginning agents and people who are not experienced, but I find one of the biggest issues I face when I'm in pitches or meeting with clients who are meeting with other brokers is I'll say to them, I'm like, I have a voice. You know, if you want to work with me, like I'm going to tell you what to do because I feel strongly about it making sense. I feel strongly about giving my opinion on what works. And if you want someone who's just going to listen to what you say, then they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
They're not being the expert.
And you are so good at what you do. And you always have the pulse of the market. You know how to price things so that they sell fast, but that your sellers are also benefiting from the upside of the market, which is rare. I don't see a lot of brokers doing that, but that's why you do such a high volume, because you have a pulse in the market.
Yeah, but again, it's the voice. It's like, you know, you don't, I think so many agents want business so badly that they will just lay down and do whatever a seller wants and agree to any price they want. And my thing is, I mean, maybe it's because I've been doing this for 13 years, but it's, you know, it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time. I
hate wasting my time.
Right? I mean,
there's nothing worse.
If you're gonna, you know, I mean, especially with 2 kids, like if you're, you know, if a seller wants someone that just listens to them, then they should do it themselves.
I recently wrote an email because the seller finally agreed to a pricing reduction. And I wrote this email and then I put it through ChatGPT and I was like, make it kinder, make it nicer, make it less emotional. And it was basically just like, had we launched with the pricing I had initially said, we wouldn't be in this situation. You know?
It's also funny because you and I are I think we're warm people when you meet us.
Yes.
But even my team always says, they're like, end every email you send with a, happy to talk live about this. Like happy to have a call because sometimes emails, like my emails specifically, can sound a little like too direct.
Well, I mean, I've never felt that way from any of your messages.
Good.
And is there too direct?
Well, that's the thing. Like
Right.
you have to be direct if you're going to sell, especially in this market.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were at Alchemy. They gave you a voice.
Gave us a voice. We had an equity partner on that building that didn't understand the New York market. Come to think of it, I seem to be attracting those. I'm just thinking through. A lot of equity partners that are new to New York. And I was at Alchemy, I think it was almost 6 years. And they really instilled in me that I mattered and my voice mattered, which was such a gift. I mean, I met you at the Woolworth building. Right.
And I remember at the time, because it's true, Alchemy is definitely one of those developers who is reaching for numbers, which like all developers are reaching for numbers. Some, a lot are more realistic than others.
Right.
But I remember there, I met you and you were like, these are stunning. Give us an offer. You were like, and I remember at that time, all I had ever heard from new development agents, because I was like 25, like 24, 25. And all new development agents I had met were like, well, we're going to sell this really fast. So you got to bring us, what we want. And you were the first person to say, no, like we need to sell and we're not going to sell at these numbers. So like, I want to bring offers.
Was that during the darkness of the internal hoistway? Or was it when you could see me in the light? Was that as we were traveling at high speeds?
It was definitely dark.
Spooky stories.
Okay, so after that, you went to Greystar.
I went to Greystone.
Sorry, Greystone.
Everyone always...
And I know, those two, sorry.
And
but then what made you go into like not a resale broker, but more of what I call a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Resale and new dev.
Okay, so I was at Greystone, and I was at Lancy Homes.
Oh yeah,
right. I know.
Yes.
That was like COVID. That was blackness for most people. I don't think most people remember that. And that was an amazing experience. It was an international public builder, first sort of foray into the New York City market, and fantastic. And then during COVID, they shifted their business model. And I was pregnant. My husband was working from home. I had a toddler. It was just sort of like the first time in my career where I could stop and I could actually think about what is meaningful to me. I had been traveling a lot for Lancy Homes. And I remember the COO, who I'm still very close with, at one point he looked at me. We were in Texas. I had just been hazed by some men because we were going to be doing a JV and they made me eat this thing. They said we couldn't do the deal unless I ate this thing at dinner. And the COO, he knew I was pregnant. He was like, don't eat it. I ate it, obviously. And he was like, if you ever want to see your kids again, he was joking. He was like, you're going to have to bring him on the plane with you. And it hit me for a moment. And I was like, wow, I'm working longer hours than my husband. Like, what do I want my life to look like? So I took that time. I was able to reboot. I had known Kirsten for a very long time. I went to college with her sister. And I just started a dialogue with her. And
Kirsten Jordan.
Yes.
To be sorry for everyone out there.
And she's so wonderful. And we were and are so aligned on so many things, just like work ethic and values. And we're both moms. And it was just a natural fit. And we were sort of building something together. What did she used to say? We're like building the plane in the air. Like we were sort of doing that.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you went to Ryan.
Right.
Which is recent. So
right.
So
yeah.
So tell me, I know that you're doing big things there. You're working on new development, you're still doing resale.
Yes.
And you're doing coaching.
Oh yeah, I love the coaching.
So, which,
I
yeah,
love
it's
it.
so up your alley. Like I totally see
Telling
that.
people what to do.
Yeah, well,
no.
well, you're a mom. Like you have this mom way
Yeah.
about you,
Yeah.
which is in the best way possible.
Yeah, I love cheering people on. Like I love seeing people win, and cheering them on.
And I could never do coaching.
Really?
Because, well, it's so funny. I've mentored over 100 agents in this
Wow, that's
industry.
incredible.
And I'm a little like harsh. I'm not harsh, but I'm again direct. With everyone on my team too. Like I'm fun and warm, but I think I could never coach because I'm not warm enough. Like when I mentor people, especially in the last 5 years, I'll be like, if you're not like so passionate about this and 100% in it, just don't do it. I'm like, just
that's amazing
don't.
advice.
Like, I mean, because
that's amazing advice.
I think so, but people take it really harshly, you know?
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and then of course they always come back to me once they come into it and a year or two and they're like, wow, you were so right. Like you have to be 100% in this.
You can apply that to anything in life, and it's really good advice. Marriage, wanting kids, not wanting kids, real estate broker.
I mean, truly. So, okay. So, well, actually, you know what? On that note, let's take a break.
Okay.
Just to be reminded out there, my amazing sponsors, Evan Greenberg and Langdon Title, and we'll see you back here.
Hey, it's Stephen Bailey from Roadway Moving and Storage. As an official moving partner of Brown Harris Stevens, we know that your clients deserve more than just a move. At Roadway Moving and Storage, we turn moving into an experience they will love. From specialized services to a white glove treatment, we've got it all covered. When you choose Roadway, you're choosing a peace of mind for your clients. Plus, our referral program is the most rewarding in the industry. Want to learn more? Shoot me an email at steven@roadwaymoving.com or visit roadwaymoving.com.
Investors, this is your moment. I'm Scott Nadler with Cross Country Mortgage, and whether you're starting out or growing your empire, I've got the loan solutions to make your next move a success. Let's talk today.
Welcome back. Hello again.
Hi.
So we ended on you were getting into family. So, I have to say, our business is so hard. And, I have had long-term relationships. I always find that they're so much more difficult doing what we do for a living. I give so much credit to people with families. It sounds so bad, but I always wanted kids, and I almost like reconsider now because of the depth of the job and if it's even feasible. So, how do you do it? Like, how are you Superwoman and have two boys who are boys and, and an amazing husband and a great business? How do you balance it?
Well, I would say that there's someone famous who says, like, you can have it all, you just can't have it all the time or something. And I definitely remind myself that every day. I once got a laser facial, and it removed a lot of layers of skin. I was very swollen, but my son had a sing-along at his school, and I was not going to miss it. But I really needed that laser, and I went. And I put a hat on, and I just didn't make eye contact with any of the parents.
That's like a Samantha Jones going to the funeral,
yeah.
with the black veil on.
I was like determined to support him. He didn't know any different, And for the business part of it, when I met my husband, I was 25. I was at Alchemy. I was working 7 days a week. And so he sort of knew that was going to be important to me. I was never not going to work like this. And then, the flexibility of the job, I'm with the kids during the week often enough so that when I'm not with them on the weekends, I feel okay about it.
And it's interesting. I think, for me, you can see it's all about like how you position things, right? Like you can see the balance and having children as being a broker as a challenge and, a difficulty of balancing, or you can see them as support. And, when you're, being a broker is so up and down. Like I have days where I'm like, I'm quitting this job. And then I have days where I'm on top of the earth. Right. But those bad days, you go home, you see the boys, you see your husband.
And nothing matters.
Right, exactly.
Totally.
So it helps.
Yeah. My dad's an orthopedic surgeon, and when I used to call him, like when I was at Cork and Sunshine, if I made like a formula error and like someone from Carlisle would call me and say like, you've made a mistake. Like my world, you're young, would come crashing down. I would call my dad and he would say, which to this day I'm still like, did anyone die on the operating table?
True.
I'm like, I get it, Dad. It's real estate. It's
True.
not surgery. But it was always helpful between family, whether it's a dad or a child who you can sort of be grounded with. It is important to have that, to have those people, the community. You have great community.
I do. I mean, it's so important, right? Like you have to have support. I mean, what we do is really, it's funny that you phrase it that way, because my ex, who's amazing, he's a doctor, and we always used to have this, I'd have like insecurity about like, you do important work. Like you like save lives, and I'm selling real estate. But, no matter how influential our jobs are on like a comparison level to other careers, it's super challenging and it's extremely emotional. And like, I get emotional, and having a therapist is not enough.
It's not.
Like, it's not.
No, it's not. I also find being a mom of two very smart little boys has given me skill sets I didn't have. Patience, which I didn't really have. And then also the understanding that people need to feel seen and heard, which has really helped me be better at what I do. So yeah, but just community. It doesn't have to be kids. It doesn't have to be a significant other. Just those people around you that ground you. It is very up and down.
It's very up and down. And, I always tell my team and like anyone I mentor and any, friends in the business who are not as experienced as we are, I'm like, there are clients that are going to make you feel small, and there are people that are going to make you feel like, to your point, your voice is not heard. But then you're going to have clients who think the world of you and are so loyal. And, you have to focus on the good.
You
right?
have to focus on the good.
Especially in challenging markets.
Oh, yeah. We had a deal recently fall apart over $40K. The listing broker had never done a deal in the building before, probably never done a deal in Manhattan. He wasn't even in direct contact with the seller. The seller was in Oslo, was in direct contact with the referring broker in Palm Beach.
Hey, sounds messy.
And the attorney was trying to get in touch with the seller because he was like, I think she would do the deal for $40K. You thought there were new windows. There's no new windows. Or you thought these windows were operable. They're not. And the broker, I think it was on text message where he told me to go myself.
Ooh.
And I was like, put that on text. Quite the power move, And then my buyer was like, you know what? After back and forth, she was sort of like, it's not meant to be. We'll find something else. And I was okay with that.
It's true. I always joke, but it really is so true. Real estate's like dating.
It is like dating.
Like you think you found the perfect place,
Yeah.
but either you lose it over a bidding war, or you lose it because there's emotions, and it's just not meant to be. And you find the one that's meant to be. Mm-hmm. But that takes balls. He texted you, just to be clear. I'll say it since you didn't say, go F yourself over text.
And then when we had a phone call, because my personality, I'll pick up the phone and call you after I get that message.
Oh, of course.
And he was like, no. And then he verbalized it.
Wow.
And he was like, we're going to relist it for more money. And I was like, but I thought you had a backup offer. And he's like, we're going to relist it for more money. I was like, well, good luck. I wish you the best of luck. And I genuinely mean it. I would never tell someone to go F themselves. You need the good luck, right?
It is so, the ego in our industry is wild. Like you're so right. I always, there are multiple times a day where I think to myself, does your seller know that you're doing this?
Yeah.
Cause I would love to know that. Can we like start a 3-way chat with your seller? It's not only ego, but it's like, it's power trips. I mean, and so unnecessary because, you and I work so well together. We've done multiple deals. it's so important to have, you don't have to be best friends,
Right.
but like have a rapport with each other because we are co-broking
Yeah.
all deals.
Yeah.
As we said, 10% of the brokers are doing 90% of the business. So you just like can't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a disservice to your clients.
Such a disservice. Yeah.
I mean, but okay. So do you think that ego and power? I
think he was desperate and panicked and inexperienced.
Well, not
that's why I was
just
like, I wish you
him.
good luck.
Not just him. Like, I think it's easy to say, like, are the less experienced agents or the more experienced agents have more ego? But I actually sometimes have found it to be a gender thing, which I hate to even put out there. But
Which gender? Tell me. Which one?
ooh, I mean, this is controversial for everyone out there, so I may say some things that we need to edit out, and we know that in advance. I love women. I love men. I personally sexually choose men, but in terms of the world, I love everyone, equal opportunists. But I have found that in our industry, sometimes there are a lot of women who need to prove themselves.
Oh, I see.
And they like start to pull power on me and try and make it so much more difficult than it is. And I'm like, I am not stepping on your toes because I'm a man. Like, this has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I totally get that. I have experienced that. And I think, coming from the development world where very often I was the only female, I was joking that, sometimes it was too equal, like I was looked at as an equal, which is fantastic. As you said, I'm direct, I'm even. And, when I was this might be too personal, but when I was trying to conceive and have my beautiful children, it wasn't a straight line from wanting to have children to having the children. And I was in a place on the development side that was very stressful. And, there were some ups and downs. And I remember there was some loss along the way. And like, I got the call that like, you need to walk this construction site tomorrow, like people were aware of what had transpired. And so I joke, it's like sometimes too equal, like, sometimes you need a beat to sort of regroup. But yeah, I've also had the experience, I recently had an experience with a mail broker where I was trying to share something and he started talking over me.
He was mansplaining.
Well, I don't know. He was just having an off day. He's sweet. He's wonderful. He's so good at what he does. He was just having an off day. And I actually learned this from Ann Young. I said, this may come as a surprise to you. You're talking over me. Can I finish my sentence? He doubled down.
Oof.
He said, no, you cannot complete your sentence. I need to finish my sentence.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, someone's having a bad day. So, at the end of the conversation, I don't remember what I said, but I was just like, hey, man, like, I was just trying to give you my perspective on this thing. Like if it's not valuable to you and you're not interested, that's okay, but don't ever do that again.
It's an interesting topic without getting too controversial because, I find that in most parts of the country, that is not New York City, I think most real estate brokers are women.
Probably true, yeah.
I think historically they're women. They're sometimes stay-at-home moms. They were, empty nesters who like had a second career after children. And New York City really, breaks that mold, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a client recently say to me, he was like, God, I feel like every listing we see is with a gay guy. Like, I was like, hey, you know what? For better or worse, gay guys are kind of like non-threatening. Like yes, we can be sassy and opinionated, but like if I'm working with a couple, with a man and a woman, straight couple, I'm not threatening to either one of them. Like, the husband doesn't think I'm trying to steal his woman. Like the woman definitely doesn't think I'm like trying to steal her unattractive husband. We're non-threatening.
My husband has a theory of why I do better with certain people versus others. Because I'm always like, that conversation went so well. Like, why do you think that happened? And he was like, well, I have this theory that. And it's similar to what sort of you're saying, but like in reverse, that like I almost do that to myself. Does that make sense? To sort of make sure that there's no missed signals or...
Oh, like you control the conversation so no one thinks that you're getting like too emotional with them.
I don't know. He was sort of, I don't know. I'm not really making sense. But when he said it, it made sense. But it didn't really just make sense.
But it's an interesting topic. And I think, yeah, it's a shame. Like, we should all be able to play in the sandbox.
Yes.
Nicely, right?
Yes.
But for some reason, I don't know I've never been able to figure out the ego thing.
I also think, to your point, when the market becomes more difficult, the people that don't have the skill set to navigate become so much more emotional. Mm-hmm. So I'm finding when people are stressed or they're not performing, that you start to see this like, and I see it with developers too. Just this morning, a developer said something pretty terrible to me. And the whole team on the Zoom is like,
right,
like,
Shuck. And you're like, I'm used to this.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, it's interesting you should say that. There's 834 unsold homes in this market.
Right.
The offering plan price is $2,000 a square foot, and the sold price is $1,730. So I'm not creating this.
Right, exactly. We don't create the market.
Yeah.
It is. But it is.
Yeah, and they were all like, like it's going to be okay.
Isn't that so crazy? I mean, well, first off, I actually love brokers that got started in development like you did, because I do find that they have first of all, you have a thicker, oh my God, what am I thinking? Like you're not as affected, you're not as sensitive by some of the things that people say. Mm-hmm. So you don't let the emotions get in the way of a transaction getting done.
It's the worst thing, right?
It is, and that's where egos come to play, to your point and to my point, but also I love female brokers who get started in development, because they're, to your point, like it's almost too equal. They're, it's so great. Like you're treated as like one of the guys.
Yeah.
Like you're in a boys club.
I once was in a meeting at Alchemy. One of the equity guys didn't even clock that I was like a woman there. And he just came from spin class, and he was talking about the woman's behind in front of him in spin class. And I was like, I am here, right? Like,
and you're like, I was that woman.
No. Can you imagine?
That'd be amazing. So wait, going from the new dev boys club, right? That you still play around in, you still, again, we're hybrid brokers. We both do new dev and resale, which not a lot of people do. It's very hard to juggle. How has it been doing resale?
How has it been? This is a challenging market. It's like a nuanced market. I'm the first one to tell my sellers to delist if there's sort of a hiccup, because last thing you want to do is sort of just languish. We recently had a listing where we found out the residents took over control of the board. It's a resale. They're suing the developer for construction defects. We were getting offers, but we just pulled the plug. I was like, why do we have to deal with this right now? I don't know, but there's no way we're selling through this. Yeah. It's going to be too messy. So it's a nuanced market, but to your point, being direct, knowing what you're doing, not being tied to the outcome. But, this might go back to me having sort of masculine energy,
What do you really need to know about buying or selling a home? First, it's serious business, and it's complicated. There's a lot of money on the table, and emotion too. You need an agent who knows the ropes. So, whether you're buying or selling your home, work with professionals who have a mastery of the craft.
This beautiful set here at Studio 1873 is brought to you by the Everset. The Everset provides full-service staging and furniture rental solutions in the New York area. We work with Brown Harris Stevens and many other top real estate firms, staging their homes to sell quickly and at the highest price possible. Our staging is affordable without sacrificing quality or design. For more information, please visit us at staging.theeverset.com or email us at staging@theeverset.com to request a free proposal.
I mean, when I look at you, I do not see your masculine energy. You are a beautiful, beautiful woman.
I had that tarot card reading over the holidays, and the tarot card reader was reading this reading, and she kept stopping me and saying, I don't think it's for you. I'm getting masculine energy. I'm feeling like it's for your husband. Like, my husband didn't just change jobs. I just changed jobs. And she was just telling me about my life. She's like, are you sure your husband? And I was like, it's me, lady. She's like, I've never had this happen before. She was like mortified. And yeah,
That's hilarious.
it's just like the evenness, I think, that can be sort of gendered.
Well, also, so I think the thing that's difficult with me, at least for resale versus new dev, is at least in new development, you have one developer, right? You have one sponsor. Maybe there's, different partners and like an equity partner, but you have one house, let's say,
Right.
You have one house to deal with. And with resale, you have all these different clients, all these different
Yes.
personalities.
Yes.
How's that been?
I love the resale part of the business. I love that it's usually through my sphere. So it's people that I have rapport with. And the new development side can sometimes be so mathematical that sometimes it could feel like you're hitting your head against the wall over and over again.
It gets a little mundane.
Yeah. But I love both. I love being in both spaces. Do you like being in both spaces?
It's funny. I agree with you. I think that like sometimes just dealing with one person all the time can get, too consistent. Like it takes like what we're good at and throws it out the window. It's like what we're good at is connecting with people and understanding what they want, what they don't want, what is it that they're trying to like gain from this. And what's so fun is being able to do that with all different people.
Yes.
And with one person, I don't know, I feel like I get bored.
Yeah.
I get a little bored.
Don't you love seeing the different homes? Like, I love seeing the different homes.
Yeah. But also, I mean, new development is so beautiful. So I feel like I never really get bored of that either.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, oh my God, seeing all different places is so exciting. And especially, like, to me, that's one of the best parts about social media.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I love, like, yes, there's negatives to it, but I love, like, we follow so many brokers and they just post, like, beautiful homes all if
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's that? I want to live there.
Yeah.
Like, I still have that feeling.
Yeah. I love that. I think if that sort of excitement and that spark ever extinguishes, I think that then I know my time is done as a broker, because to have that joy still is everything.
So on, one final thing, like on the social media, topic. So I just think it's so interesting that you, again, like you're not necessarily a conservative person, but you're definitely more of like, you like your private life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're a little bit more, you're direct, but you're not like loud. And
Very good point.
And I love that about you. Like, I hate people who are loud just to be loud.
Right. I agree.
And
You're also not loud. I love that.
No, I sometimes need to take my voice down, but like, cause I like, apparently my voice resonates, but I love that. Yeah. I love that you're not loud. You're direct. You say what you mean, but it's funny cause going out of development, you've worked now with two people, Kirsten and Ryan, who we both love a lot, but they are like, love the spotlight. They are heavy on social media. They were both on reality TV, and like you want none of that.
I want none of it. Yeah, yeah.
So like how is it working with someone who you really?
But isn't that what makes it work? Right? There has to be someone who enjoys that. You can't have everybody sort of like me or everyone like Ryan or Kirsten, right? Like there has to be that's what works. Like everybody is different. I think I guess now you do have a lot of people clamoring.
But do you feel like, have you ever felt pressure? I mean, to be on it because you work around them?
You know, I had that one experience with Kirsten when we were filming, and I think that sort of solidified for me that this was really not for me. You know, my outfit wasn't showy enough. I think I was told I was boring. None of this by Kirsten. Kirsten was and always is so wonderful, and the ultimate.
The TV people.
It was
the TV people said this. Yes.
Yeah, the TV people. And I think for me, I was sort of like, maybe I am boring, right? Like maybe my dress from the row is boring, like, you know, but.
I think that, you know, what's great about, let's say, the boring is that the boring gets the job done.
Yes.
And reality TV, social media sometimes is for show. It's not the truth. It's not reality. I think, you know, I'm similar to you because years ago I was asked to join one of the biggest, you know, reality shows on television, Real Estate, and they test shot me for a week. I was 26 and they were like, we love you. You have such a great personality. You'd be so good on this, but we would really love for you to see our stylist. We don't like love your wardrobe. And we want you to see our plastic surgeon.
What?
And I was like,
what?
Yeah, I was like, I want to look great too, but I'm 26. This job is not that for me. Like this job is to be in real estate and not to like, you know, so on that note, I think that's like a good, so now that that's out there, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Yeah, this is so much fun.
You're amazing. And honestly, we should do it again.
Yes, I'd love it.
To all you out there, thank you for joining me, and I'll get you soon.